Hello, Dr. Rissetto. This is my final project. Let's get right into it. I'm doing the chapter Jesus the Teacher. So, in the introduction, not to quote Harrington, it talks about, all of Jesus's teachings revolved around the kingdom of God, and the coming of the kingdom of God. And one thing he did, what a great teacher does, is he relates to his audience through everyday experiences. And that's why Jesus taught with parables, which I thought was pretty interesting. The parables would be, things of everyday life that could relate to his followers, like, farmers, fishermen, blah, blah, blah. So, and these parables were they're very powerful in the fact that it would start with a simple experience and something very big or drastic would come out of it. For example, the parable of the mustard seed. One small seed is planted and it erupts into a big tree. Or the parable of the sower. A big field of wheat is grown out of a small harvest. And it's also there are also signs of how of value and how important and wonderful the kingdom of heaven is. And that's, an example is from the parable of the pearl. A fisherman is fishing and he sees a pearl, and the pearl is supposed to be the kingdom of heaven. And he's so amazed by the pearl that he sells everything he has and buys the pearl because the pearl is so precious. And basically the pearl is the kingdom of heaven. So you should sell everything to get to the kingdom of heaven. I guess sell everything that's in your way to get to the kingdom of heaven. So there was that. And then there was, something that was about if Jesus was a prophet or a wisdom teacher. And I'll give my opinion on that a little bit later. But basically they said that, Harrington was saying that he was not a wisdom teacher because the Dead Sea Scrolls said that he was not similar to the beliefs of Jewish wisdom teachers. So I'll talk about that a little later. But anyways, moving on, we move now on to the Sermon of Jesus. This video is going to be a bit longer. I apologize. So the Sermon on the Mount, didn't know much about this, which is a little concerning. But I just thought in the Sermon on the Mount, it was just, our Father and then see ya. But no, it was, he lays down three pillars of acts, which are almsgiving, prayer, and thanksgiving, which I'd never heard of before, and then the Beatitudes. And I didn't know he did that at the Sermon on the Mount. And basically the Sermon on the Mount's an outline of his morality and his beliefs and what you need to do to get to the kingdom of heaven. And then it ends talking about how Jesus, in certain situations, he could demonstrate his beliefs and his faith through questions, like with the Pharisees, where he could demonstrate his superior knowledge over everyone, which kind of showed both his divine and human aspects, but also how he was a great teacher and not a lunatic or an idiot, which falls into Matthew Kelly's reason why God exists. Lunatic, liar, can't remember the other one. So stuff questions or responses to questions like, give to Caesar what is Caesar's, they show his knowledge and power and superior intellect, not as a boast, but just to show that he was on top of things and he was a smart man, I guess. It's kind of hard to explain that without saying oh well, he wasn't bragging, but so he wasn't bragging, but it does look like he kind of was I don't know. So, anyways, my opinions. So first off, I didn't think the Sermon on the Mount was that important, but it really was. I didn't know about the almsgiving or Thanksgiving or prayer. I just didn't really know that that was that huge, really, but it was. And I know the Our Father is really important. One question I do have to ask is, how is like the Our Father the most important prayer? I don't really know that. Um, and then, so wisdom or prophet or a wisdom teacher. So I remember I think, since I went to Catholic school for so many years, I was kind of built into this thing into my head, which is that like the word prophet in Jesus is really like, you just got to get rid of that because, Muslims think he's a prophet, not the true God. So, Jesus isn't a prophet. A lot of people, a lot of other religions think he's a prophet, which is bad. So prophet and Jesus is bad. But he's defined as a prophet in this book, sort of, and not a wisdom teacher. So kind of confusing. Still figuring that out. But the parables also, that was a cool snippet on how, like, because a lot of people wondered why he used parables, and he did it to relate to others, which I thought was pretty neat and cool. Which again shows that he's a great teacher and a smart man, and not a lunatic. And so yeah, those are my opinions, I guess, and my thoughts. And then looking at this through a Marxist perspective. So in terms of, Marx would not like how Jesus, especially in this chapter, would kind of act smart with the authority. Not act smart, but kind of try to show his superior intellect over the authority. You have to respect the authority in Marxist world because the authority is helping the bourgeoisie and the proletariat. Everybody's equal. The government is your friend. And when you start playing games and kind of making trouble with the government, that's not good. Marx would like how in Jesus' parables he talks about how not to judge others, how everybody's kind of equal and in the same standing, and about, I guess you want like stuff about like hidden treasure and stuff like that would make people rich. It's kind of, I guess, something else about the Marxist. I'm trying to think. I think Marx would also like the guidelines for making the kingdom, like almsgiving, Thanksgiving, and prayer. He would hate prayer because any of this prayer stuff is bad because no religion, no religion allowed, none of that. But almsgiving and being thankful for what you have is good. Anything that is like giving to others and helping others, and equality, not rebelling against the authority, all follows on Marxist. That falls under thumbs up with Marx. But apologize. I think using the parables as like a allegory for religion is not really a fan. He wouldn't be a fan of that either. But so I think like overall, I think he would appreciate Jesus's kindness and sacrifice to others, but he would not like how he talks about this supernatural world, the kingdom of heaven, and all these parables that show how, like, symbolize the kingdom and giving thanks to a higher power. I don't think he would like that at all. But he would like like sharing food, the loaves, and being kind to others. But anyways, it's been a pleasure. Sorry, this is so long, by the way.